Afternoon, folks. Quick video. Just a quick video. Now the reason for the video is I had a bit of a rant about the police probe into the SNP's finances, and I made it clear in that rant that if the SNP had done something wrong, and there is something dodgy and there is prosecution, it would derail the independence movement for up to 30 years. It would appear that people taking that the wrong way, because when I said Mr. Salmond wouldn't be riding out to rescue anybody, they seem to think that has to do with the Alapa party. People haven't been paying attention to my videos. After the stunt pulled by the Alapa party and they've decided that they're going to stay and actually fight the council elections and build political momentum, I welcomed that, and I still do. The reason why I said Mr. Salmond's no riding to the rescue if the wheels come off the bus here, because the SNP have done something wrong with their finances, is because it takes years to build political momentum. The SNP took 80 years to get where they are today. That's the vehicle we're all supposed to be. That's the vehicle that we have available to us. And then there's the Greens. It's taken them 21 years of devolved a government to get anywhere in Scotland. And I mean anywhere in Scotland. If you look down that road, they've got 1 or 2 MPs. So people seem to be taking this wrong. I'm not a Salmonite or a Sturgeonite. I'm an eyes on the prize type of guy. I keep saying every movement has its moment. This moment's nearly over, then it will need to be handed over to another generation to build political momentum. And that doesn't happen overnight. Now, for people who are telling me that I'm anti-Alba Party or I'm anti-Mr. Salmond, I'm neither. I'm a political realist. And as a political realist, I realise that it's going to take 30 years to build a new movement. Minimum. To think that people will just transfer their votes to the Green or the Alpa Party is absolute loony. It's nuts. It hasn't happened in the elections we've had since the referendum. And this carry on about you didn't give your second vote to Alapa, so we didn't get a pro-independence majority in the parliament. Aye, we did. Now, each political party has a right to fight for the votes that it thinks it deserves or it wants. But I'm no anti-Alapa or Mr. Salmond. I'm also no a Sturgeonite. I'll criticise. I mean, I said in a video when this came up a few weeks back before the MSN decided to pick it up and run with it, that, you know, I am not happy with the idea. I thought this money was ring-fenced the same as everybody else. I used to be the treasury of charity. We ring-fenced things for projects and they didn't show up in general accounts. They were in the accounts, but they were under special projects. So I'm as annoyed about this money as anybody else. But the SNP have said they'll spend that money on when the time comes. I hope the hierarchy's got it stuck in their back pocket somewhere, because crowdfunding it again is not going to be easy. Especially if we're heading into a depression, never mind a recession. But if people in the Alapa Party jumping on and giving me a hard time and saying I'm anti-Mr. Salmond or anti-Alapa, I'm no. I'm a political realist. I know how long it takes for a political party to build momentum. For a cause to build momentum. And, you know, this movement has got a couple of years left in it before this movement is over, until this movement has passed peak and interest in this movement wanes. Right, I'm not anti-Alapa, I'm not anti-Mr. Salmond. The vehicle we've got has already got that political momentum. The people just have to come behind it. And we have to drive it. We have to drive that party to get us over the line, because it is the political arm of the independence movement at this point in time. You know, if we're going to change vehicle, then we better be prepared to wait 30 to 40 years to build momentum. And to build the vehicle, of course. Now, for all you that think I'm anti-Alapa, I'm not anti-Aliport. I said in a video that I really am pleased that they've decided to actually stick around instead of disappearing right after that last election and build the political momentum that they will need if we don't get over the line with the SNP. I've stated all this in the record. So you can stop giving me a hard time for saying that Mr. Salmond isn't the answer here and that he's yesterday's man. Because he is. Mr. Salmond's not got 30 years worth of life in him to build political momentum. He hasn't got it. I'll be lucky if I've got 30 years worth of life left in me to fight this fight. So, you know, if the SNP, and I'm serious here, and I'm not ranting and I'm not raving, if the SNP are found to have done something wrong and it sets the party back by many, many years, or even has the party disqualified by the Electoral Commission, then this is after cards for 30 years. Independence. You have to build a brand new party, you have to build momentum, and I'm a political realist. I understand the amount of time it takes to do these things. So don't be giving me a hard time because I'm pointing out the obvious that Mr. Salmond is yesterday's man. Whether I have no beef with Mr. Salmond. I have said repeatedly that Mr. Salmond has done wonderful things. He woke the country up. He politicised the people and got them interested in politics again. But the truth is, he hasn't got 30 years to build another independence party. We've seen what happened in the last election. People weren't interested. And I'll tell you what, the fight between Salmond and Sturgeon is going to take years to forget as well. So you're going to have fractions that won't vote for either. At this point in time, Miss Sturgeon's has plenty of political clout in her pocket. She's a popular leader. Doesn't mean she's popular with me. People jump to conclusions while no listening to what's being said. It's not a good look. And Thomas, you're right, we don't need unionists when the enemy is inside. Yes, the failings in the SNP need to be addressed. This issue needs to be addressed. But we still have to stand square behind the vehicle we've got, because it takes 30 years to build another vehicle. It will take 30 years to build political momentum. This particular movement has been gone since 2012, and this particular run towards the independence finish line. Obviously, the movement for independence has been around for 300 odd years. Since the beginning of the Union, there's been a movement for independence. But if the SNP bus is derailed here, kids, I wasn't joking in my video this morning when I was going off my nut. I'm angry because it will take 30 years. And that means there's another 2-3 generations are going to have to fight the same fight that we've fought. And that includes getting to devolution. My hope was that we could stick together, stop the infighting and get over the line and give the country to the children to build. To give them a future to build. Because let's face it, 59 MPs down that road, we don't have a say. The children won't have a say in their own future. But don't come and tell me I'm anti-Alip or anti-Mr. Salmond or I'm a Sturgeonite and things like that, because I'm no. I'm an eyes on the prize type of guy. And I see the prize getting further and further away. This movement's got about 2 years left in it. I've said this repeatedly. If there's no referendum by end of 2023, beginning of 2024 at the latest, then the SNP's a busted flush and it's time to start again. Having people within the independence movement driving that flush to be busted before we get to the next referendum is just mental. So don't be telling me I'm anti-Alpa or anti-Mr. Salmond, because I'm not. And I'm definitely not a Sturgeonite. I'm an eyes on the prize type of guy, and there is a prize that has to be out of the line. It has ground to a whole island. I'm not going to kid on about it. I mean, the pandemic and everything's taking the momentum out here. And then, of course, the politicians are now frightened to move forward because of the economic disaster that's coming because of Brexit and the pandemic. But if we're going to start building, then we're going to have to build for the scratch anyway. So now's as good a time as any to build. So politicians need to grow some kahunas and go on with it. But as I say, I've said this repeatedly in my videos and I'll say it again right now. If Miss Sturgeon doesn't call a referendum in the term of this Parliament, the SNP's are busted flush. And that means 30 years to build a new movement and to build new momentum. And that's how it is. Anyway, thanks for listening. Just don't give me a hard time and try and call me a Sturgeonite or a Salmonite or anti-Alp, because I'm no. I'm a political realist. You know, and if you just have to have a look at how long it took the SNP to get where they are today. You only have to look at how long it took the Green Party to get where they are today. It took 20 years of devolution, because the Green Party has made no inroads UK-wide. There is no Green MPs in Scotland. I don't think there's any Green MPs in Wales, and I know there isn't in Northern Ireland. So I'm an eyes on the prize guy. Don't tell me I'm a Sturgeonite, a Salmonite, or anti-Alp, or a pro-SNP. I'm only pro-SNP because it's the vehicle we've got to get us out the line. Because this movement, this particular turn at it, there's going to be 2 years left in it. And then people will turn away to go on with their own lives. I've thought about it many times myself for the last couple of years. Just down in tools and saying that's enough. You know, and as I say, if there's no referendum in the life of this Parliament, the SNPs are busted flush. But we don't need to spoke with in wheels. And that's what we're doing here. Have a nice afternoon.